In this video, we're talking about women who become exceedingly competitive and they try to make other women look stupid when they get around men. You may have even dealt with this with so-called female friends and women in your family. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you find value here. Let's get this channel to 100,000 subscribers. I know with your help, we can reach that goal. So I want to give you 3 ways that women try to make women look stupid when they get around men and why this happens. If this has ever happened to you, you are with one of your friends, you're having a good time, maybe you go to brunch, maybe you were just, chatting it up wherever you are, and a man comes along and she changes her whole personality and starts doing things to embarrass you. And you were like, that's not cool. Like, we're supposed to be friends, or we're supposed to be cousins. We're supposed to be auntie and niece. Where is this coming from? So don't be shocked when this happens, and really begin to understand that you know people by their fruit. So when they're showing you this fruit, you got to respect the fruit, independent of the title they carry in your life, meaning auntie, sister, whatever the title is. So number 1, they will bring up embarrassing stories that have no place in the present conversation. And so you're at brunch, you see a guy that you know from the neighborhood, or she sees a guy that she knows that you went to college with, and it's like, we give him a name. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Mark comes over. Hey, what you doing? Hey, you want to join us? So Mark comes over. He sits and he's talking with you at brunch, and this friend is bringing up the most embarrassing story. So we'll give you a name. Your name is Julie. Her name is Sheila. Julie, remember the time that, that you couldn't hold it when we were all going to the club and you peed all over yourself? And you were like, why would you bring that up in front of him? Like, why would you bring that up in front of him? No, I'm just saying, we all haven't, I just thought it was a funny story, because remember, you could not hold it. You couldn't make it to the bathroom, and we was trying to get you to the bathroom, and you peed all over yourself. And he's showing you interest, or he pays you a compliment, or you're just vibing. It doesn't even have to be a romantic type of interest. You are just enjoying the conversation. You're having a good conversation, and she wants to knock you down a peg by bringing up a very embarrassing story that has no place in that present conversation. What was the purpose of that? Were you talking about most embarrassing moments, and did you give her the green light to share that story, particularly if you're not doing that to her? That's a game that you didn't sign up to play. So you don't want to be naive around this type of behavior, because it is petty, it is competitive, and you want to begin to weed out who needs to be in your inner circle and who needs to be in your outer circle. The second thing you'll notice when a woman gets real competitive when men come on the scene is they will bring up a past you left behind. You left the past behind. That is not who you are today. That was years ago. But they're going to take this opportunity to share with this guy that neither one of you know that well, or maybe you do know him well, but he doesn't know that aspect about you, and it's not her story to tell. It's not her story to tell. It is your story to tell or not tell as you see fit. But she want to take it upon herself to bring up a past that you left behind. And so do know that this is a way to cheapen your value. It is a way to not honor who you are today, and to let you know that you are not all that, because I clearly remember where you came from, but where you came from has nothing to do with where you're going. So be mindful. Don't ignore these behaviors and act like it's not that big of a deal, because it is the little foxes that spoil the vine. There's actually a scripture that speaks to that it is the little foxes. It's in the Song of Solomon. It is chapter 2, verse 15, and it says, catch the foxes, for us the little foxes that spoil the vineyards, for our vineyards are in bloom. And so it's saying you got to catch those foxes. See, because this is the thing about little foxes, right? And why they spoil the vineyard. Little foxes are cute. They seem harmless. So when they're nibbling at the vineyard that is in bloom, you don't really see it as a threat, because little foxes are not big foxes, but little foxes eventually grow into big foxes. Not only that, when they are spoiling the vineyard because they are nibbling on the vineyard while your vineyards are in blossom, they are eating away at the very fruit that you were trying to grow. And so when you have somebody who's supposed to be your cousin, who's supposed to be your aunt, who's supposed to be your friend, but they're using little fox behavior to spoil the vineyard, to eat away at your confidence, to eat away at your self-esteem, to shame you by eating away and using your embarrassing moments to eat away at your confidence, you can't ignore that this is part of the dynamic that this person brings to the relationship. And so here in Cassandra Mack Ministries, our goal is to help people defeat life's devils, detect deception, and navigate the twists and turns of life with biblical wisdom, resilience, and grace while reaching for your goals and dreams. And so if biblical principles are not for you, if that's not your thing, this channel's not for you, because I'm going to use scripture. You don't like it, it ain't for you. And here we are all about detecting deception. And so you can't unsee these things when you start to notice these behaviors, because it is the little foxes that's going to spoil that relationship. And little foxes turn into big foxes. So number 2, they bring up a past that you left behind. Number 3, they will point out a mistake publicly or some sort of flaw publicly in front of the man instead of pulling you aside. And so maybe you mispronounced a word, right? And they could have pulled you aside. But rather than pulling you aside, girl, you need to get a handle on your vocabulary. You were never the sharpest tool in the shed. And you always have problems in English class because you don't know the definition and the meaning of words. And you always using words. You're like, whoa. Like that's a lot of artillery to be coming at somebody you supposedly care about because they mispronounced the word. You could have simply just made the correction. You could have pulled them aside, but you ain't got to say all of that. That's too much. But what they're trying to do is exercise superiority and dominance over you. See, when you understand human behavior, and people get very triggered in these comments because nobody likes when you expose things that they're trying to keep under wraps so that they can gaslight you into believing that they are your true friend having your back when they're showing you frenemy tendencies. So people who have frenemy tendencies, people who are haters, don't like channels like this. And you will see their triggered comments in the comment section. Don't be surprised. So they will point out a mistake publicly in front of the man instead of pulling you aside. And these are conversations they could have aside. Maybe you have on a light colored pants, and as you are walking for whatever reason, the imprint of your undergarment is showing. And they're like, girl, that's why your panties are riding up. And you were like, you could have pulled me aside so I could go to the bathroom and take care of what I got to take care of. But for you to make that loud announcement and everybody's laughing at my expense, and you call yourself my friend. See, you're not calling yourself my enemy, but you're showing me frenemy tendencies. You cannot unsee these things because it's the little foxes, those things that you think are not a big deal. It is the little foxes that spoil the vine. And again, let me be very clear. This is not harboring hate. It is about being very clear about the dynamics that are in your relationship, being very clear about where people are coming from, being able to see through the BS so that people don't play in your face, so that people don't pee on your leg and tell you it's raining. There's a book out and it's called Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining. And I believe the book is by Judge Judy. And so it's basically like, don't try to lie to me and play with me like I'm stupid, like I'm naive, and I don't know what's going on in this world. And so that's something they could have pulled you aside to tell you. But instead, they get off on embarrassing you. Everybody's laughing. And in that moment, they feel superior to you because they made you look stupid or attempted to make you look stupid, right? And so why do women do this? Because they see other women, and let me be clear, not all women. Some women, not all women, some. So if you come here saying not all women, we've already established that. We're talking about the women who do this. So if it ain't you, it ain't you. So some women who have the mindset where they see every woman as their rival for male attention to the point where their behavior becomes petty, cutthroat, and passive aggressive, that's going to be a problematic friendship. How can you establish a friendship with a woman who sees every woman as rivals for male attention? So you could be at the copy machine in your workplace talking about a project that is coming up. There is nothing romantic about the conversation. You don't like the person you talking to in that type of romantic way. You were just talking about an upcoming project. And here comes this woman. And because she sees that he's giving you attention because y'all are talking, and it would be anybody who is working on that project, but it happens to be him. You're in the same vicinity. And now she want to insert herself in the conversation and bring up an embarrassing story. Well, let's hope you do better on this project than you did on the project last month, because you failed miserably on that project. Oh my gosh. Even the director, had to come in and correct the things that she did. Now, why does that conversation belong in the conversation that you're having with Jerry from accounting? We're going to give him a name. With Jerry from accounting, and you're talking about a project. But because Sally is looking at Jerry talking to you, now she feel like she got to get in rivalry guerrilla combat mode. And you were like, we don't need to get into guerrilla combat mode. Like, it's really not that serious. We're talking about an upcoming project that we got to work on for the client. Like, we are not talking about dinner plans and hooking up. We're not talking about that. But when you're dealing with a woman who changes her behavior based on a mindset that every woman is her rival, it is going to be hard to build a friendship based on what I call the 4 C's: care, consideration, complementary behavior, cooperation. It's going to be difficult to build a relationship on care, concern, cooperation, being complimentary of one another, lifting one another up. How can you build a friendship, even with a family member, that is based on those things if you're dealing with a woman that has the mindset that every woman is a rival for male attention? At some point, the behavior is insane. And so, Proverbs 10 verse 9 says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. And so when you're walking in integrity, you can walk securely. You don't need to feel like every dude that comes around that you're competing for his attention. And sometimes these women that behave like this are married, like they got a whole husband, but they competing for Jerry's attention from accounting. And you like, make it make sense. And so whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths, will be found out. I want to give you 1 Corinthians 9:26. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 26. It says, therefore I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air. So they're in a competition, running a race with you, against you, that you didn't even sign up for. Like, I'm not running aimlessly. Like, my life has direction. I have goals. I have dreams. Sweetie, I'm not competing with you. You can have Jerry from accounting. Trust and believe I am not competing with you about Jerry from accounting. We are talking about a project that we got to work on for a client. You can have Jerry. Let me just get the details of the project together, and I'll remove myself so that you can flirt with Jerry. Like, it's not that serious. But for you to go into cutthroat, passive-aggressive mode because you got to be the shiniest object in the room at all times, that's problematic behavior. And so 1 Corinthians verse 9:26, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 26. Therefore, I do not run aimlessly. So when you're not running aimlessly, you're running with focus. You're running with purpose, meaning you're running your life with focus and purpose. And so you got to get away from People who don't want to run their life with focus and purpose. They're running their life aimlessly, and they box like they're beating the air. So let them beat the air. Let them beat the air while you focus on purpose and destiny. Honey, you can have Jerry from accounting. You going ahead and beat that air. You going ahead and beat that air. But what I'm going to do is focus on purpose and destiny and get this work together for my client. That's my focus. And so when you find that you have a woman around you who behaves like this, and you consider her a friend, you consider this a close family member, it may be time to reevaluate that relationship. And again, it doesn't mean that we need to be nasty, right? When we see certain characteristics with a certain person that we know doesn't align with who we are, sometimes it just means stepping back and pulling back and know that we can't have a close association with that person, right? Amos 3:3, Amos chapter 3, verse 3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed, right? And so when you start to see that you are around a woman whose values don't align with yours, you are not walking in agreement. And so if you're not of the mindset, if you don't have the value system that every woman is a rival for male attention, if that's not the way you move through the world, but you have a friend or family member who moves through the world like that, how can you be aligned? You're not aligned in values. You're not aligned in mindset. You're not aligned in your behavior and how you move through the world. And so you got to move forward in purpose, destiny, the things that are primary priorities for you, and let that woman be. Let that woman be. We can't do no more brunch. This ain't going to work. This is not going to work because I see how you get down, and my life is about peace with no stress. And you're going to bring unnecessary stress and drama when you try to embarrass me, because it's for so much embarrassment that I'm going to let slide. So before it escalates, you know what? I wish you the best. Like you have a beautiful life. And so you don't have to be hateful. You could keep a person in your prayers, even with family members, because sometimes we got to love certain family members from a distance when you start to see that behavior. And we're actually doing a class this evening. If you are a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel at the Wellness Club tier, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So today is November 11th. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are doing a class by request. So many of the people in the membership requested this class, many of the women specifically. And it's called Mean Women in the Church. And although we're talking about mean women in church settings, the tactics and strategies and archetypes that we'll be talking about can apply to mean women in any setting. And so we're talking about mean women in the church, how to protect and preserve your grace, how to move with class when you encounter women who are mean, malicious, malevolent, miserable, and they bring that hostile energy to you, and you have done nothing to them. You are simply shining your light, using your gifts, using your talents, using your skills, and you being met with all kind of hostility and crazy making behavior. How do you maintain your grace, maintain your class? And so many of the strategies that we'll talk about can be transferred to the workplace, to family relationships, to social circle settings outside of the church. Men are also encouraged and welcome to attend, because many of the strategies will apply to men who deal with this. We're just focusing on women in church settings because that's what my membership, many of the members ask for. And so the class is in response to what they asked for. So again, it's happening tonight, November 11th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube live stream. You need to be a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel at the Wellness tier. And tonight is part 1. It's a 2-part class. So tonight in part 1, we're going to be talking about the 8 different archetypes of mean women that you will encounter. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of the different archetypes, meaning personality types, that you will meet, so that as soon as you begin to see these signs of a personality type, you will know what you're dealing with from the gate. So that's what we're going to do this evening. And then we have a part 2. I forget the date, but the flyer is posted on YouTube. So simply just look in the community tab of YouTube. You'll see the flyer with both dates. So I also want to let you know we're having a vision board workshop. That's happening on Saturday, November 23rd, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And our focus is creating a 5-fold vision board to end the year strong and start the new year with focus, strategy, and clarity. A lot of people set out to create vision boards, and they're more like smorgasbords and collages. They're all over the place. It has no focus, no strategy. And what happens is a year passes by and you look at your vision board and you're like, I didn't accomplish anything on the board. Like, I'm no further than I was when I made the vision board. And usually because you're calling it a vision board, but it's a smorgasbord. You got everything on there. It's a collage. You got everything on there. And there's no real tactical strategy to the way that you are creating this vision board. And so in this workshop, where we're going to do a 5-fold vision board, we're going to be very focused. We're going to be looking at how do you begin to realize your goals and your dreams, right? The Bible tells us to write the vision and make it plain so that he who reads it may run with it. So when you create a vision board, what you are essentially doing is you are writing your vision by way of the pictures and the words that you add to your vision board. But then you got to do the part of making it plain, making it very clear, very concise, very precise, so that you are able to hit the ground running so you can bring your vision into fruition. So the tickets, it is a ticketed event. It's happening by Zoom. So wherever you are in the world, you can be part of this event. And the tickets are sold through Eventbrite. So you will see the link in the video description box. When you click on the link, it'll take you to the Eventbrite page. You'll see ticket pricing and information. And if this is something that, you want to come to, you'll get a ticket. If not, you won't. But you'll see the information there. So with that being said, have an awesome day. And last but not least, if you struggle with haters who bring you down, you need the book Rise Above the Haters. This is a journal. So it's not just a book, but this is really a journal to allow you to process the trauma of dealing with haters on paper. And it allows you to do what I call cultivate your hater-proof powers. And so you get biblical strategies, practical strategies to begin to move forward, rising and shining, despite who don't like you, who don't want to clap for you, who don't want to see you win, who's trying to bring you down. And so it's called Rise Above the Haters. And my books are available at Amazon. Amazon will be the first place I would recommend. But they are also available at Barnes & Nobles, not all, but some. Some are available at Target. Some are available at Walmart. You would just have to put my name in, Cassandra Mack. But you would get, all of them are available at Amazon. So that's why I say that's your best bet. So with that being said, have an awesome day. And hopefully I will see you at tonight's class, dealing with mean women in the church, how to stay classy, focused, and graceful as a woman of God when you encounter women in the church who are mean, messy, miserable, malevolent, and malicious. Take care. Let's be kind to one another. There's enough meanness in this world. Let's not add to the meanness. Let's be kind to one another, but at the same time, let's move with wisdom and discernment. God bless you.
No matter who you are, you will have haters. John 15 verse 18 says, if the world hates you, know that it hated Jesus first. So if you have haters, know that God is greater than your haters. Lately you've been feeling the weight of your haters coming at you with their envy and their hate, scheming against you, throwing mud on your name. But God's gonna work it out despite their lies and game. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer. Let the haters hate while you elevate. Pay no mind to the critics, be about your goals. Keep rising, keep shining. Your haters can't stop no show. They can hate all they want to. Remember you are blessed. Never let a hater see you sweat, 'cause this is just a test. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer. Let the haters hate while you elevate. Don't let the negativity poison your mind. Run your race with grace, one day at a time. They can laugh and they can mock you, but you won't miss a beat. When people don't receive you, shake the dust off your feet. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer.